Hi, I'm Fia Namdar, and I'm a co founder of the organization Mind Over Matter. And this is a podcast for interviewing certain heads. This is Miss Kalpana Chaudhary. She She's passionate about her profession and inclusive practices in her own classroom as a teacher and in her school as the head of school. As per her belief, each child has some potential, can learn and grow as per his or her potential. The duty of a teacher is to recognize and nurture that talent with dedication and compassion to bring out the best in the children so that every child gets an opportunity to bring out their best and no one is left behind. She has set up and nurtured three CBSE schools in South Gujarat, a believer of progressive and inclusive pedagogies. Currently, she's the Director Emeritus at N H.Goel World School, Raipur. Hi, Ms. Chaudhary.
Yes.
I will be asking you a few questions for the podcast.
All right.
Okay, so let's get started. The first question is how have teachers changed from before and after the lockdown? Like, how do you feel they've changed and what have you observed?
Well, as far as my observation goes, that initially when the lockdown started, where most of the teachers were not at all, proficient with technology. They didn't even know technology. And suddenly they had to make a shift because they thought that it was their duty to get to their children, to teach them, to know them in that. And, basically, they changed tremendously because they reached out to each and every student. They tried to reach out to each and every student, and they became more alert. Alert in the sense, all the time they kept on looking out for more and more platforms which they could use, more tools which they could use in their uh, lessons. So what I think is that they have become more confident in terms of using technology, and also they could see, what happens is when we are in a classroom here, we don't, at times, we don't see the children in a different perspective because all children look alike. They sit very, in a very organized manner. Classes are quite organized, but when the children attended from their homes, so they saw the children in their own surroundings, in their own environment, and they noticed even the smallest details about few children, and then they kind of counseled them. They counseled the parents. They came closer to the parents also. This is what I have noticed, that they are now very quite close to the parents because they can discuss things with the parents openly, because both the parent and and the teacher, they were kind of on the same platform in the primary classes. Of course, in the higher classes, things were slightly different. But I feel that teachers have really changed tremendously in as far as their knowledge of technology goes. They
So
are
you
more tech savvy, and much more. They've researched a lot. They've started researching more. This is what is my feeling.
so you think they've changed for the better?
Yeah, I think for the better. Teachers, yes. Why? Because normally in the routine classes, teachers take they used to take the classes in the routine manner. But now, since they knew that, they were being observed as well by the parents, isn't it? And by the heads of schools and the, the coordinators most of the time. So they were more cautious, and slowly, I realized that each one of them, I'm talking about my own school. Here, what this was my experience, that each one of them tried to, gain more and more knowledge about that particular topic. They used to research quite a lot, and then they wanted to make their lessons very engaging, because online classes were otherwise, I mean, they can be really, really boring,
Really,
but
really. And
they
like,
had to make those. So they had to, in order to make their classes engaging, they devised, they developed, they progressed in so many, uh, different ways, that
yeah,
I think they gained a lot of experience, and also they gained a lot of insight into their own teaching methods and their students' learning strategies also.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. Also, now next question: how do you think the behavior of the students in school has changed? Have they become more positive, more negative? Just how are they like normally and now after the lockdown? How have they changed?
No, there's a great change, because, first of all, most of the children, especially in my school, in some way or the other, they've had very, bad experiences, personal experiences during COVID times.
Oh, oh,
They've lost people because here, Raipur is a place where people still believe in large joint families, right? So
yeah,
they have lost people, people whom they have loved. They have seen that, they have seen, they've seen fear all around, and
yeah.
they've experienced that fear, right?
Oh my God.
So many of them are traumatized. They're badly traumatized inside out. And then, when they were at home, especially the younger ones and many of the elder children also, they couldn't share their things. So the first day when they came to school, and I went around the classrooms and I asked them, how do you feel? So many of them came out with the thing that, okay, we love it. We are excited in a way that now we can meet our friends, because most of them were quite lonely as well,
Yeah,
you know. So, and who likes loneliness at their age?
yeah, and
Nobody likes
even
that.
even though I living in a joint family, it can get boring after when you see these people.
Yeah, it can. It can.
Yeah,
And then there were so many do's and don'ts all the time.
yeah,
Everyone had their eyes on them, right?
yeah,
Though, so they have changed, but then we are trying our level best. The first thing we started doing was regular counseling. And, we made strategies how to deal with the certain new elements which were not there earlier. Earlier, classrooms used to be quite disciplined. Now
yeah.
we accept that, okay, children are a little casual, but then slowly and slowly they'll come back to their normal selves. You cannot just expect that since they're coming to school, they have worn the uniform, so immediately they'll behave as they were behaving earlier. No, you don't. They have changed. They've also gone through bad experiences, good experiences, whatever, and they've become little laid back sitting at home, and
They've become
then
calmer.
right, little laid back,
Okay.
you know. They don't believe, especially the older children, don't believe in writing more. And what has happened is that in last 2 years, I mean, they were given marks on their internal assessments, and in many cases, they didn't have to work very hard. So this time, when they were supposed to write their exam, initially they couldn't believe it. They were all they had this idea that, okay, maybe something happens when Omicron started,
Yeah,
escalating.
yeah.
So most of them used to feel, Let's see, now again the school is closed, ma'am. So, kya karna hai pad ke? I mean, why should we write? Our internal assessments, we've written so beautifully. We've given our assignments, and we've done everything that we are supposed to. So
Yeah.
why should we practice writing? But we made it compulsory in school that every day each class had one only writing period, that wherever they felt that, and the teachers felt that they needed more practice, so they were given assignments and they wrote in school only. We never gave them a lot of homework, but at the same time we made sure that they practiced writing while they were in school.
I mean, yes,
Okay.
as a teenager, I totally relate to all of that. The sense of loneliness, the lack of motivation to study. And
Yes.
I definitely feel like even I was a bit laid back after the lockdown. I was a bit more like, okay, it's fine now, it's whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can agree to that. My next question is, if I asked you the same question um before the lockdown, like their behavior before the lockdown, like they were energetic or something like that,
Hmm.
what would your answer have been?
No, they were energetic. After coming back, also, they were energetic in so many other ways. Like they were ready to play. But we couldn't have so many games periods because we were not supposed to have them together. The assemblies were not there.
Yeah.
And in the classrooms, also, only half of the numbers were sitting. So that was there. But they were, in a way, it was a mixed kind of a feeling. Of course, uh, some of them at your age, the teenagers, grumbled that at home we were supposed. I mean, we could take classes only with our uniform shirt and
Yeah,
sit in
I
front of the.
definitely can relate to
Uh,
that. We didn't wear a full uniform.
yeah, you can. Yeah, but here in school they were supposed to wear full uniform, and they were
Yeah,
supposed to. Few of them had long hair, and they were not ready to do
cut it.
away with. They were not ready to cut. Yes, but then I mean, we did not force
Yeah,
immediately. We didn't force them. Slowly every day there was some session for them, casual sessions. We didn't make it very obvious, but some senior faculty member with whom the children were familiar, and they used to feel at ease, would walk into their classrooms, would speak to them, and casual talk. But yes, whatever message we had to give, we gave. But now I think after so many months, things have changed. They are coming back to normal.
normal. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, uh,
But still, we don't expect them to go back to, the previous behavior as of now. But I think within next 3, 4, 5 months, they'll be
with
back.
time they will.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Uh, Now the next question. What do you
Yeah.
think are appropriate steps for them to overcome the challenges? Like for you to help them overcome the challenges?
See, first of all, counseling, personal counseling for every child is very important,
Yeah.
because each child has had a different experience, different kind of trauma. So you cannot generalize that. So class teachers have to be very, very sensitive. They have to be very compassionate. Some things class teachers can do, some things the different counselors can do, some things the teachers who are with whom the children are comfortable, that they choose. That,
Yeah.
okay, I'll go and speak to so and so,
The
right?
teacher they have a comfort.
So, yeah, whosoever has any, that comfort level needs to be there, because otherwise it'll be just a bhashan and nothing else.
Yeah.
And I don't think bhashans work anymore, and
Yeah.
they shouldn't be there for children.
Yeah.
Bhashans never work. The only thing works is little friendly approach, and with the, I mean, you have to go to their level to talk to them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I don't know. My personal approach is always this: if I see something wrong, my own, not wrong as such, or something which shouldn't be there, I just go walk up to them and I just speak to them uh, uh, casually, and then I tell them that, okay, we are doing this. Can we all do something like this? Do you think that will be a better behavior, or people would appreciate, or you will feel better? We'll feel better about ourselves. So instead of you,
Arguing.
I use we. I include myself with them.
So instead of
So
like,
they are much more comfortable talking to me. They have any issues, they can come and talk to me anytime.
like in a
Doors are always open.
yeah, in a school, usually the students are very scared of their principal and like approaching them at all.
No, they shouldn't be.
Yeah, yeah,
Principals are not there to scare children.
yeah,
Principals are there to, you know, uh, gain their confidence and
yeah,
their trust. And they should have this trust that, okay, I am facing this problem. Who is going to help me? And they should be, that's why, at least for me, I can speak of that. I've always had this open door policy. Even if a very important guest is sitting with me at times, and if I see any children outside my door, like, I don't keep any peer, I don't have any secretary outside my office.
yeah,
I don't even have curtains in my office. So the moment I see a child standing outside, I just excuse myself, go outside, speak to them, come back. So they know that I'm approachable.
which
And
is
so is the case with our most of our senior leadership team. They
which
are
is
also quite approachable.
which is really good because usually they're very scared and they don't want to approach the principal, which is really nice.
Yeah.
All right. My next question is uh
Yes.
so basically your normal course of action for a child that has gone through trauma is counseling, right?
Counseling, talking to them, making them, generally when they come back,
Yeah.
uh, whatever, like, we know our children, no, because we make their social emotional profile.
Yeah.
We do that profiling in school. So generally class teachers also know what the child likes, what he or she doesn't like. she the class teachers start that, they take the first step, and then slowly we uh, take them through various stages, and counseling, most of it counseling, friendly chat, talking to them, sharing a meal at their table.
Yeah.
So that is how they
Like
you
in a friendly
try,
manner
and yeah, friendly
instead of sitting them down and
no,
telling them to talk about it, like in a
no,
very
no,
friendly
no, no.
comfortable way.
Yeah, you can't do that. A child will never speak to you if you order the person,
Yeah.
order the child, chalo baat karo,
Yeah.
batao tumhe kya ho raha hai. No, they will not. They have, their pride is very fragile,
Yeah.
and they're very proud people. The younger the children are, they are much more, they're very proud about themselves, and their prestige is at stake at
Yeah.
every moment. So you have to be very careful. You
Understood.
can't do that.
Yeah. And now my last message,
Yeah.
my last question. What message do
Okay.
you want to give to the youth that faces trauma?
Trauma, see, the trauma is something what I we always, this is kind of a, what should I say? What would be the right word for it? That, majority of us
Yeah.
teachers talk to children that whatever you are going through, share it.
Don't bother.
Sharing is the, don't bottle it up inside you. Share it with whomsoever you think you can share. But somebody elderly who can be, maybe with your friends, then friends come and speak. Friends come and share with us at times. That also happens. But sharing is very important. You can't keep things bottled up inside. Secondly, what in recent times, actually, amongst the children who are, say, the teenagers, have been using, earlier on we used to, as I mean, in school we used to say, no, no, you can't use phones and all. We used to tell the parents, don't give them phones and all that.
Yeah.
But see, during the pandemic, phones became the essential tool for
Yeah.
teaching. Majority, it's okay, no, because most of them didn't have so many laptops, but everyone had a phone. A spare phone would be there. So children started using phones. And at times children are children. They get into, some websites, they watch some websites, they were threatened by somebody, or so many things happen.
Yeah.
So, for that, what I would suggest is that keep your, I mean, you need to know uh, about the technology, I mean, the pitfalls of technology, using technology. Everything is very good when it is used in a particular manner. But at times, there are things which can be quite detrimental for your own self. So, I think most of the children, as they grow older, they should know that bar of discretion should be there within each child, that what is good for me and what is not, which will come through practice. It can't come just like that. You need to practice it in your smallest little day-to-day life, in smallest little effort, whatever you are doing. You have to think about yourself, because today's world is changing very, very fast. And majority of the children now, the trauma, that death trauma, and that calamity and all that is separate. But I have come across children who have their personal traumas, personal problems to tackle.
Yeah.
So for them, I would always say that you all know that there are cyber crimes and all these things are happening. No, so just don't be there all the time. Whatever you eat, you are on Facebook, or you are on Instagram, or Snapchat, and I don't know what all, or Twitter.
Yeah.
Because we are all said and done. Uh, Younger people are very vulnerable to any kind of negative remark. You can't take it,
Yeah.
isn't it? So that negativity, don't allow that negativity to enter your sphere of comfort. And you need to make yourself stronger, in the sense, take precautions. Know what you should know, what is, I mean, how far you should go, and this far only you will be there. You can't be totally, you can't I mean, be a recluse. You can't be in a totally secluded environment. No, that is not done. You are a human being. You need that connect and human contact. But at the same time, we have to keep ourselves safe. That safety, I think each child needs to be taught today, and schools are doing, uh, parents are doing, everyone is trying, because this is something which I think, amongst the teenagers, this is the bigger threat than anything else. That is what I have seen in recent times. I mean, last 3 4 years. This is something which is because the in the manner the social media usage is increased, the trolls and everything, this affects children badly. So for that, one needs to know one's, I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
how
yeah.
do I put it? One's, you need to know how far you can go and how much can you take also. You should know about your own self, your how resilient you are to in taking all that nonsense. No?
Yeah.
So we if we decide that we have to do because nobody else can decide for you. As in today's time, I think earlier on children when they were about 17 18, then we used to think okay, now they can start thinking for themselves. In today's time when everything is so easily available, there are opportunities, people are seeing, and media, the effect of media is quite a lot on the society,
Yeah.
and especially on children as well. So children need to start thinking very early. I think at 12, 13. I always tell my children, once they reach ninth standard, I tell them, you are no more children. You are young men and women. Start thinking about yourself. And knowing one's strengths is very important. You know your strengths and work on your strengths. No. And don't leave your, I mean, everyone says that you work on your weaknesses, right? You have to. But you also need to work on your strengths. So knowing yourself is the most important thing, I think, for children also, that what they can do, because today there is no dearth of opportunities anywhere across the world. There are opportunities. Children your age, younger than you, are doing such good work. You see for yourself, you started this organization, haven't you?
Yeah.
So children are taking positive steps. They are moving ahead. They are young people. You are young people. You are no more children. And you have to start thinking at an early age, because you have all the knowledge. You've seen I mean, media is everywhere. You know what's happening around you, and your understanding power is much more than earlier children. I always say, earlier on we used to say 10 years gap or 5 years gap or whatever. Today it's a new generation comes within 6 months. When the new children come to enter our nursery classes every year, there is, I mean, 2 generations gap. That is what we've been noticing. Children are much more observant, children are much more aware of things,
Yeah.
right?
Totally. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for coming on here.
I hope uh, I mean, have I given the proper
Totally.
answers to your
Yeah,
question?
it was perspective based, so it's perfect.
Perfect, Fia. Then